Have you ever wanted to change your life, but the first step felt uncomfortable? Maybe you wanted to exercise, but staying in bed felt easier. Maybe you wanted to learn English, but speaking felt embarrassing. Maybe you wanted to leave a situation that was hurting you, but staying felt safer. We often think that the life we want should feel good, but many important changes feel difficult at first. The uncomfortable part does not always mean you are making the wrong choice. Sometimes, it means you are leaving an old life and moving toward a new one. In this Level B1 shadowing practice, we will look at 3 uncomfortable choices that can help you build a better life. Listen to my voice and speak just behind me. Follow the pronunciation, rhythm, and emotion. If you miss a word, do not stop. Keep going. Let's begin. Imagine that you want to become healthier. You know what you need to do. You need to move more. You need to sleep better. You need to make better food choices. But knowing is not the hard part. The hard part is getting up when you do not feel like it. Your bed is warm. Your phone is close. The weather may be cold. And suddenly, your old habits look very attractive. This is how comfort works. It gives you something good now, even when it may cost you something later. The problem is that comfort can become a quiet trap. You do the same things because they are easy. You stay where you are because you know what to expect. You avoid new experiences because you do not want to feel nervous. Nothing terrible happens, but nothing changes either. That is the hidden cost of staying comfortable for too long. The life you want may require you to do things that your present self does not enjoy. You may need to wake up earlier. You may need to study when your friends are relaxing. You may need to go to the gym when you would rather watch TV. You may need to speak English even when you are afraid of making mistakes. None of these things feels special in the beginning. They can feel boring. They can feel difficult. Sometimes they can even feel lonely. But think about what happens when you keep choosing comfort. One easy day becomes one easy week. One easy week becomes one easy month. And slowly, you become very good at staying where you are. That does not mean you should make your life hard all the time. Rest is important. Comfort is important too. But there is a difference between resting and hiding. Rest gives you energy to move forward. Hiding keeps you in the same place. So the next time something feels uncomfortable, do not immediately ask, "How can I avoid this?" Ask a different question. Is this discomfort helping me grow? If the answer is yes, you may need to stay with it a little longer. Because sometimes the first sign of a better life is not comfort. It is a small decision to do something difficult. Great job. Take a breath, and let's continue. There is another uncomfortable choice. Sometimes building the life you want means saying no. This sounds simple, but saying no can be difficult, especially when you care about other people. A friend asks you to go out. You want to study. Someone asks you to help with something. You already have too much work. Your phone gives you another notification. You know you should focus, but you check it anyway. One small yes does not seem dangerous, but many small yes can fill your whole day. Then you wonder why you have no time for the things that matter to you. This is something many people do, without noticing. They say yes to other people's plans, yes to small distractions, yes to things they do not really want. Then they say no to their own goals, no to rest, no to exercise, no to learning, no to time with people they love. The problem is not that saying yes is bad. The problem is saying yes without thinking. Every yes uses something. It uses time. It uses energy. It uses attention. And those things are limited. If you spend all your time helping everyone else, you may have very little left for your own life. This can feel selfish at first. You may think, what if they are disappointed? But someone being disappointed does not always mean you did something wrong. Sometimes people are simply used to getting a yes from you. When you start saying no, the relationship may feel different. That can be uncomfortable, but it can also be healthy. You do not need to explain every no. You can simply say, I can't today. You can say, I already have plans. You can say, I need some time for myself. These are simple sentences, but they can protect important parts of your life. Think about the person you want to become. Maybe you want to be calmer. Maybe you want to become better at your job. Maybe you want to learn a new skill. Maybe you want more time with your family. That future needs space. And sometimes you create that space by saying no today. You cannot give your attention to everything, so you have to decide what deserves it. A better life is not only about adding more. Sometimes it is about removing what no longer belongs. Now consider one of the hardest choices of all. You have to accept being bad at something before you can become good at it. This is difficult because most of us want to feel capable. We like doing things we already know how to do. We like getting good results. We like looking confident. But every new skill has an uncomfortable beginning. Think about learning a language. At first, you may know many words, but speaking is still hard. You may forget simple words. You may make grammar mistakes. You may say something incorrectly and feel embarrassed. Because of that, you may decide to stay quiet. You tell yourself, I will speak when my English is better. But how will your English become better if you never speak? This is the strange part of growth. The thing you need to practice is often the thing you're most afraid to do. If you want to become stronger, you have to exercise before you feel strong. If you want to become confident, you have to act before you feel confident. If you want to become better at speaking, you have to speak before your English feels perfect. You cannot wait until you feel ready. Sometimes, readiness comes after action, not before it. This also applies to bigger choices in life. Maybe you want to start a new career. Maybe you want to move to a new city. Maybe you want to create something of your own. Maybe you want to end a relationship that no longer feels right. You may not feel completely ready. You may still be afraid. You may still have questions. That is normal. A new life often begins before you feel completely prepared for it. The goal is not to remove all fear. The goal is to learn that fear does not always mean stop. Sometimes fear simply means, this is new. And new things take practice. So, give yourself permission to be a beginner. You do not need to be impressive on your first day. You do not need to know everything. You only need to take the next step. One small step can teach you something that thinking never could. And after enough small steps, the thing that once felt impossible may become normal. The life you want will not always feel comfortable. Sometimes it will ask you to wake up when you want to sleep. Sometimes it will ask you to say no when you want to please everyone. Sometimes it will ask you to try something new when you are afraid of failing. These choices can feel difficult. But there is another kind of discomfort. The discomfort of staying the same. You may feel unhappy because you know you are not using your time well. You may feel frustrated because you keep making the same mistakes. You may feel disappointed because you know you want more from your life, but you are not moving toward it. That kind of discomfort is real too. So perhaps the question is not, how can I avoid discomfort? Perhaps the better question is, which discomfort is worth choosing? The discomfort of studying for an hour may be hard, but so is the feeling of wishing you had learned something years ago. The discomfort of saying no may be difficult, but so is feeling that you never have time for yourself. The discomfort of starting again may be scary, but so is staying in a life you no longer want. You cannot make every choice comfortable, but you can make your discomfort meaningful. You can choose the hard thing that takes you somewhere better. And remember, this does not mean you should always push yourself. You also need rest. You need kindness. You need moments when you do nothing. Growth is not about making every day difficult. It is about knowing when comfort is helping you and when it is holding you back. So start small. Choose one uncomfortable thing that matters. Make the phone call. Open the book. Take the walk. Say no. Speak the English. Start the project. Have the honest conversation. You do not need to change your whole life today. You only need to make one choice that your future self will understand. Because the life you want is not built in one big moment. It is built through small choices. Some of those choices will feel uncomfortable. Choose them anyway when they lead you toward the person you want to become. The right discomfort can take you to the life you want. Great job! You have completed this Level B1 English shadowing practice. If some sentences felt difficult, listen again and follow the rhythm. Then practice once more and try to speak with more confidence. Every repetition brings you one step forward.